Well, what's happened is basically we're looking at yet again another summer of travel chaos, and this is all down to the fact that the European air traffic control is literally on a knife edge in terms of the capacity to actually run flights. Eurocontrol, who actually run air traffic control throughout Europe, announced earlier on this week that they were very concerned that the system was almost at capacity. Now, there's several reasons for that. We've got staff shortages, we've got strikes at various different European airports in the air traffic control systems, and also restricted airspace because of the Ukraine war. That has led to much more congested skies as they're not able to use the same amount of airspace they used to before. Easyjet specifically have come out and said they're going to cancel 1,700 flights between July and September. Now, these are preemptive cancellations. That means that there's no compensation due because those flights have been cancelled more than 2 weeks in advance. Now, 95% of people have been rebooked onto other flights, but the number of people involved, we're talking about almost 180,000 passengers. There are still thousands who actually don't have an alternative option yet and are still negotiating, scrabbling around, trying to find new flights. We've also had today further news that the Easyjet have had to cancel 350 flights because of strike action by Portuguese cabin crew. So that's 350 flights in and out of Portugal between July the 21st and the 25th. Of course, that's the start of our school summer holidays. Well, I can see why Easyjet have done this. They're trying to make sure that they've got resilience in the system and that they can actually make sure that the flights that they do operate will go ahead as normal. And that is to be lauded. I mean, it is something that, we are talking about the biggest low-cost airline in Europe here. Normally, hundreds of thousands of flights that will be going as normal. Everything's absolutely fine. But it does show you that really, you need one wildcat strike by the French. As we've seen with Ryanair, they've had to cancel over 4,000 flights so far this year because the French air traffic control go on strike. There is no notice period as we have in England where you have to give 2 weeks notice of a strike. These can be literally overnight, and that's caused chaos because even flights that are just flying over French airspace are being impacted. Well, I mean, there's obviously, this could cause real problems for us this summer. We can only hope that things do get better. But the fact that we're seeing these flags being raised already by Eurocontrol, the fact that Easyjet are doing this, it is going to be a tough summer. And it's a shame because this was meant to be the summer where everything was back to normal again. No restrictions, no COVID pandemic. And there was a huge demand. Most flights, this summer since the pandemic, I'll start again. There's huge demand, and there's huge demand. There's more flights this summer than any other time since the pandemic. So we really know that people are out there, they're desperate to want to travel. These are longed for holidays. And all we can hope is that the situation improves and that the flight cancellations we've seen don't get any worse. Well, make sure you're on top of it all the time. So check on the airline's website, check on the airline's app. Make sure they've got your up-to-date details so they know how to contact you should the worst happen. And check your airport that you're actually flying from. Check their website because they're going to be the best ports of information for people. And just making sure you're keeping ahead of it. And also the other thing that everyone must do is get travel insurance. Make sure you've got travel insurance, good travel insurance, and check what you would actually be getting if there was either delays or cancellations.